Okay, here's question 15 on the higher non-calculator paper. Alright, let's read the question first. Here is a scale drawing, so it's not accurate, of a rectangular garden A, B, C, D. Jane wants to plant a tree in the garden, so she wants to plant a tree somewhere in the garden. It needs to be at least 5 meters from the point C, nearer to AB, so there's AB, so it needs to be closer to AB than AD, and less than 3 meters from DC, so less than 3 meters from DC. Okay, so this is a loci question, and I need to sort of break it down into stages. The first thing, it says for each of these 3 conditions here, I'm going to draw sort of constructions or draw shapes on the diagram, and then at the very end the question says, on the diagram shade the region where Jane can plant the tree. So at the end I need to shade that in. This question is worth 4 marks, right? So if I just lift it up a bit, this question is worth 4 marks. So in order to get the full marks for this, I need to do all 4 of those things. I need to do each of these 3 constructions and then shade in the region for the 4 marks. Okay, so the first thing, I'm going to use my ruler, right, to measure. In fact, there's one thing that I didn't draw attention to. In this question it says the scale 1 centimeter represents 1 meter. So 1 centimeter represents 1 meter. So in this part of the question where it says at least 5 meters from point C, at least 5 meters from point C, I'm going to use a compass to do that special locus. It's the locus of all the points that are equidistant from a certain point. And in this case, it's all the points that are 5 centimeters away from point C. And I'm not going to draw outside the rectangle, but I'm just going to keep it there. And quite simple, I don't need to make it too dark, I just need to make it so that I could see it. So that's 1 mark there. That's the locus of all the points which are 5 centimeters away from C. But they said that she wants to plant the tree so that it's at least 5 meters from point C. So it can't be inside that space, it's everything, it could be all on the outside. Okay, the next condition is that it needs to be nearer to AB than to AD. It needs to be closer to AB, that line at the top, than AD. Now, if again you're quite familiar with loci and your constructions, that means I need to find all the points which are equidistant, equal distance away from both of these lines, and then where we could plant the tree would be everywhere that's closer to AB. So how do you do that? I need to do the angle bisector of the angle between those 2 lines. So I've drawn an arc there. I've not changed the size of the compass, kept the compass the same. I'm going to draw another arc at there, and then go from the other point, and so I'm going to show you what I've done there from that point, and then draw an arc. Now you can see where those have crossed. Now throughout all of that I haven't changed the size of the compass at all. I'm then going to use my ruler to draw a line from the corner where A is through the point where those 2 arcs meet. And I'm going to take that all the way through. So I started from there and I went through that point there. Alright, so that's another mark for my construction. And then less than 3 meters from DC. Less than 3 meters from DC. So I'm actually going to use my ruler to measure 3 centimeters. Remember the scale, 1 meter is 1 centimeter. So I'm going to measure 3 centimeters there. And I'm going to come to the other side and again measure 3 centimeters there. Okay, and join those 2. So, given that I've just done that last bit, where do I need to shade? Well, let's think about each of them. The tree needs to be at least 5 meters from point C, so at least 5 meters. So it can't be inside of that quarter circle, it has to be on the outside altogether. Then it needs to be nearer to AB than to AD. So if I put my ruler here, everything on this side is closer to AB than to AD, right? So everything on the top or above my ruler is. And so the only area that I've excluded is this tiny area over here inside the quarter circle. So it could be everything in this space over here. And then the last bit says it needs to be less than 3 meters from DC. So here's DC over there. And if it's less than 3 meters from DC, it needs to be closer to DC. So it's everything inside of this space here. Can't be inside the circle, so this is a space that I'll need to shade in. I'm not going to color it in. I just think sometimes that wastes a lot of time. And I'm just going to shade it in neatly so that there's no doubt that the examiner knows what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to spend a minute shading in all of that. So that's the area that you could plant the tree in, and that's the answer. This is quite a complex question, a lot in here, and there's 4 marks for this, right? These are proving quite popular. Make sure you look at it again, break it down, and make sure you could do it yourself.